Years had passed, and Lisa found herself living in a home she never imagined as her own. The sprawling estate, once a place she had only visited as a guest, now enclosed her world. Its grand stone walls seemed to amplify the quiet that had seeped into her life. Her father, once the unshakable foundation of her existence, was now frail, his health waning as time wove its inevitable threads. Lisa stayed by his side faithfully, her grieving heart finding some solace in their shared solitude. But while her world turned inward, Brian, her husband of convenience more than affection, saw an opportunity. He had timed his proposal perfectly when Lisa's grief for her father left her too numb to resist and too weary to care. Love was not part of the deal. Brian's intentions were coldly pragmatic. Marrying Lisa cemented his control over the family business. And so, a subdued Lisa had gone along, not out of hope, but out of resignation, feeling she had nothing left to lose. Shortly after their marriage, Brian brought his young son, George, to the estate. At just 5 years old, George was everything his father was not: warm, bright, and utterly untarnished by the world's cynicism. He offered shy smiles to Lisa that eventually grew bolder, and he brought her simple, heartfelt gifts: a wildflower plucked from the garden, a drawing scrawled in crayon. At first, Lisa kept her distance, hesitant to let her guard down. But George was relentless in the purest way, sensing goodness in her even when she couldn't see it herself. Each small gesture from the boy breathed life into the dormant parts of her soul. Slowly, Lisa began to let him in. She would read to him in the afternoons, help him with his drawing, and laugh softly at the silly stories he shared. He was healing her without even knowing it. As their bond deepened, Lisa felt a new purpose awaken within her. Here was a boy in need, too young to understand why his father had removed him from his birth mother, too innocent to grasp the games Brian played. To George, Lisa was the only mother he knew, and he adored her without hesitation. She, in turn, poured into the boy all the love she had buried under years of sorrow. Lisa also found herself returning to her art, something she hadn't touched in what felt like a lifetime. The act of painting was like pulling years of emotions from within and splashing them onto the canvas. Colors once muted by grief exploded into vibrant life. Each stroke was a declaration: she was alive. Brian, meanwhile, remained as cold and calculating as ever, his plans for George clear. He sought to groom the boy into an heir to the family empire. But what he hadn't calculated was the power of Lisa's love. He didn't yet realize the strength of a woman who had rediscovered her heart. Lisa tolerated his presence, but inwardly, she dismissed him as a shadow in her life. Her focus was on George and her father, the two souls who truly mattered. In raising George, Lisa rediscovered the beauty she thought lost to her forever. And through her rebirth, she chose not only to survive, but to love with boundless generosity. Her love became her resistance. Through her art, her actions, and her unwavering devotion to the boy who called her mom, Lisa ensured that her life was no longer about loss. It was about creating something new, something beautiful, something filled with hope.